countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science.
Warning. The following are thoughts and opinions that belong to 4chan and Reddit. They do not reflect the thoughts and opinions of the Atomic Shaman Sweat Lodge. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Who killed Charlie Kirk? A Twitter thread. Accurate Energetic Systems, AES, factory in Tennessee explodes. 16 dead. Deadliest munitions blast in more than 100 years. Facility leveled. Blueprints, prototypes, records gone. It happened days after the exploding mic theory went viral. And then things got weird. May 1, 2025, Department of War awards one contract ever for miniaturized extra small demolition charges, anti-personnel-XS. To AES, to the exact building that was leveled on October 10. $440,000. Delivery, August 25, 2025. This remains the only extra small device on https://usaspending.gov/award/cont_audi. N0016425PJ538_9700_none-none. Since records began. August 25, exact delivery day, rare private flight. Heber City, Utah, rightward arrow, Nashville, Tennessee, closest airport to AES. Heber City equals home of Butch Hibbs, brother of Pastor Jack Hibbs. No return flight logged. Who was on that flight? Could it have been someone picking up the exploding mic? Sep 10, Charlie Kirk assassinated at University of Utah. Butch Hibbs there with Kirk pre-event. Photos show square object in his pocket, dims match Rode wireless go-to microphone, 2x2. After killing, pocket empty. Watch the shirt explode outward, fabric balloons up, clasp flies to ear level. Violent pressure wave pushes away from body. Blood starts after blast. Not bullet behavior. Outward force from the mic exploding? Fragments everywhere, glass/plastic or magnetic clasp shot into the air, hits tent roof. Shards on clothes, ground, SUV floor, Candace Owens pics. Kirk's left hand cuts equals shrapnel, not just blood. Matches casket photos. This cannot be explained by a bullet. One hypothesis, mini explosive, shaped charge/EFP style, hidden in Kirk's lavalier mic. Detonates inward equals rifle-like chest trauma, no exit wound. Emulates .3006. Outward blast equals shirtwave plus clasp shrapnel slices neck. Explains strange wound and many other things. Glass fragments and explosive traces all over the grass. Very difficult to remove. So, just concrete over it? Which is exactly what happened. In highly mysterious circumstances. What does all of this mean? That's for you to decide. We have added a new section to the website on this topic, http://whokilledck.com/theories/ex below. Ding mic/introduction. Have a look and tell us what you think. Credit to @Janarombre. at Ian Carroll Show, at Triggersmark, and at Real Stupiders, and others. Paranormal experiences you had as a kid. Thread for creepy/paranormal/unexplained stuff you witnessed as a kid. Particularly stuff that was impactful enough to shape the way you behave or how you saw the world afterwards. Having such experiences so young kinda warps what you're willing to accept as real going forward. I'll start. 6 years old in the summer of 1999, my parents told me that I was allowed to dig in a certain portion of our house's yard along the side of the house. Best friend would come over every day after school and we would dig with garden trowels for fun. He's crouched to my left digging alongside me one day, and as I turned to speak to him I saw a spiky black ball floating about 2.5 feet off the ground. It looked like a mad black sea urchin. The body portion was roughly basketball-sized, with approximately 1 foot long spikes protruding in every direction. Didn't have a metallic or reflective surface. My friend saw my eyes go wide and he looked as well. It passes by us close enough that I could have reached out and touched it. It first floated past him, then past me, and through our wooden fence without breaking form whatsoever. It phased through like one would imagine a ghost walking through a solid object. Lastly, it turned around the corner to the front of the house and I never saw it again. I asked my buddy if he saw that too. He describes the same thing I had seen. Almost wish I hadn't asked him first, because now I can't write this off as my imagination. Recently found him online and asked him if he remembers the event as it has been over 25 years. He does recall the event as I described, except he now remembers the object/entity as a purple blob and not as a spiky black ball. What the fuck was it? Be me, in my early 20s. Dream of a silhouette draped in white. The silhouette is slowly climbing a set of red stairs. It stops. Clap 2 times. Wake up. 3 seconds later, a picture of me from my childhood fall from the wall. It then crash in my stairwell. Excuse my ESL, it has been a long time since I've written English. I have another one, longer, which started my fear of windows with no curtains/ways to block them. Also, fuck the new CAPTCHA. Shit, Thread said as a kid. Fuck me. 3 to 4 years old. In the piss middle of rural Portugal. Evening in the middle of summer. Play with brother and other cousins in a garage. The garage was 3 to 4 meters high, with a triangular window. Near diner, so my brother and my cousins are called to help with setting the table. Happy lil me, playing with the ball. I look up, I don't know why. There's a fucking snowman. With sunglasses. It's against the window. It's summer. In Portugal. There's no snow. I was startled, I ran toward the kitchen crying. Everyone thinks I hurt myself. Can't articulate because of fear. I refuse to open my eyes. Every member go to investigate. Nothing found. My mother managed to calm me down. Managed to talk about the snowman. I asked them recently if they remember, but they don't. I think I may have dreamed the whole thing, but if it's a dream, how did I manage to fuck my brain so much that I can't sleep without something blocking my windows? So, I had 2 experiences as a kid. Me about 10 years old. Playing with the dog on the backyard. Randomly look to the ground. There is a shadow perfectly round centered on me. Move a bit and the shadow with a delay catches up to me. Look up and there is nothing but the blue sky, not a single cloud in sight. Look down again. The shadow starts getting smaller. Run inside the house crying like there is no tomorrow. Fast forward a few months later. Get on the bike to go buy some groceries for my dad. In the road to the supermarket there is a mostly abandoned football field. Remember vividly looking at it on the way in and noticing it was really dark in there, even with the lampost's light being not even 10 meters away. Still, keep going along. Buy the groceries. On the way back, look into the field again. Weird lights in a circular pattern in the middle of it. Look around to see if anybody else was also seeing this shit. Everything is dead quiet. No cars, no people, no sounds, every house had its lights off. Look back at the field again. The lights suddenly all go dark. I tried to pedal as fast as I could in panic. Bike chains literally break in half. I abandon the bike and start running back. When I got home, the bike was already there, with the chain intact, as if I never used it today. My dad did not believe me at all. Me, around 8 years old. On a summer camp field trip to an ice cream store. Little stage in the corner. After we all get our ice cream, magician goes up on stage. He does a few magic tricks, pretty basic stuff. One of the tricks he does involves ripping a sheet of paper into many small pieces, crumpling it up and then revealing it to be whole again. Try to recreate the trick with a candy wrapper lying on the floor next to me. Rip the wrapper up into pieces and crumple it up. Open my hand to see a fully intact candy wrapper. I was old enough to understand that magicians were bullshit, so I was completely baffled. April 21st, noon, Fort Lauderdale/Pompano border. See metal shiny orb flying pretty damn low. Rotating on its x-axis. Observe for maybe 5 to 10 seconds. Realize this is fucking wild shit I'm seeing. Think to pull out my phone and record this. Orb shatters into fragments while still rotating. This is all held inside a static type of fuzz surrounding the metal orb. Reforms to original shape and disappears. Been obsessed with UFOs and related topics since. I had 2 experiences, both of which were explainable but nonetheless weird. Be 10 years old. Love to hang out and game in basement, since our family PC was there. Basement has these small horizontal window at the top that you can look out and see the side of the house, but at like foot/leg height. One night, late at night. Be doing some gaming. Start to feel watched. Don't look out the window at first for the same reason I don't like to look at mirrors at night, just in case my reflection ever does something I don't do. Eventually cave and look out anyway. Something stares back with a face that looks warped and burnt. Immediately look away and back at computer. Pretend I didn't notice. Shut down game and PC as casually as I can manage. Feel watched the entire time. As soon as the PC is shut down, immediately bolt upstairs. Never game late at night again. I'm thinking it could have been someone playing a prank with a mask, but you'd think they would have made a sound or something to make me look, instead of just sitting there and staring. And if it was a mask, it would have been a very creative one. My brother had a pretty decent demon mask that looks like pick related, but it would still have looked like a mask to me. Be 13-14 years old. Bed suddenly starts shaking at night, pretty much every night. Wakes me up and then stops when I'm fully awake. Tell parents, they think it might be sleep paralysis. But I had sleep paralysis before and it was nothing like this. Continues to happen. Start to become afraid of falling asleep. Decide to just sleep through it one night. Shaking just gets more insistent until I'm fully awake again. Another night, decide to invoke the name of Jesus Christ, cross myself, and tell it to go away. Might have grabbed a Bible as well, but I don't remember. Worst shaking of my life, then stops with a loud bang. And wakes me up. Don't go back to sleep till like 2 hours later out of fear. Never happened again. 7 years old. Watch my dad murder my mom. He tells me to keep my fucking mouth shut, and that the dirty bitch deserved it. That God told him to end her life. He drags her out of the house. I hide under my bed for the next few hours, crying and losing my shit. Anon, come down. Dinner's ready. And bring your father, too. What the fuck? WEBM. tiptoe out of my room and see my dad creeping out of his. We both sit at the table confused. She serves us a meal. She looks just fine. She sounds just fine. She is just fine. Glance at my father and he has no idea what is happening. Glance at my mother and she does the shush gesture. Nobody ever mentions it again. They separated and are doing just fine. For all intents and purposes my mom is healthy and in a good spot. My dad is a raging alcoholic and always under the influence of whatever drug he can get. She died. She was murdered. I watched her die. I still don't know what happened. I used to have raging nightmares as a 9-year-old all the way to 13. It was mostly weird shit and it happened after my family moved houses. I usually woke up confused and very sweaty. The one that was the longest recurring was this. Wake up in the middle of a forest. Huge trees with thick trunks, look up and can't see the tops. Notice a naked man walking around. He sees me and waves, goes up to a tree and touches it with his index finger. Tree disappears. He walks up to me and asks if I pray. I tell him I don't know how. He gets a sad mournful look on his face, tells me it's fine. I ask him how do I pray and he says that he can't teach me, I am supposed to just know. Touches me with index finger and I wake up sweating. Dream recurs again and again for a while. The dude is chill and seems to like me. He insists on talking about religion every dream. One day ask him what to pray to. He gets a puzzled look and says he will show me what not to pray to. Next dream is the most vivid. Some valley devoid of trees, just grass, and random rocks. A giant with weird lanky proportions is sat on a big rock, people at his feet are bowing and throwing their hands up. The thing pick up rocks and shapes them with his hands into more people to worship him. A sense of dread envelopes me. Giant looks at me and I notice he has like 15 eyes that go around its head like a circle. The worshippers turn to me as well. We make eye contact for a few seconds before I wake up feeling sick and I vomit all over myself. Remember being scared enough to run to the bathroom and lock myself in. Dream with the guy happens again. I ask him what he showed me. He smiles and tells me it died a few hundred years ago. It's not as scary, but this alongside other dreams changed how I saw religion. I was scared to pray for a few years and I kept wondering if God just made us to worship him only because he was bored or wanted worship too. Not me personally, but up until his death last year, my granddad talked about how him and his family were victims of an attempted alien abduction when he was a kid. He described how there was about 15 to 20 of surrounding the house, peering through the windows, could hear them slurrying around upstairs, etc. His dad got all his brothers and sisters and barricaded into a bedroom and sat there with a rifle pointed at the door and recited the Our Father continuously for an hour until they just went away. When I asked him to tell the story, he always had a tinge of embarrassment, like I thought he was insane. He was a simple Irish Catholic farmer from rural northwest Ireland who loved John Wayne movies and God. I have no reason to believe he would lie about something like that. About 6 years old, I was in foster care. My bed was moved to the basement of the house when it was mostly finished. Months later, still living there. One night I was up because I was playing with the host older kids. The other kids were settling down in their own room, I myself was trying to sleep. Out of nowhere I see a blue transparent figure that is missing a torso run/walk across the basement, then into the corner where the breaker panel was. Freak out and alert the other kids. They think I was just seeing things, but seemed concerned. Very spontaneous experience, that probably lasted like 2 seconds. Be 16-year-old me, 2004. Cold winter evening after rain. Want to smoke. It's already dark outside. Fuck it, my soul demands a smoke. On top of that hill. In a pitch black darkness. Like every week before. Alone. I won't share my precious smokes with anybody. The city lights at the skyline are worth it. And it's the world's most boring neighborhood anyway. Oh yeah baby, I needed those carcinogens. But then, see a spark of light on top of another hill about 60 meters away. Wow, this place is really popular. Hello fellow smoker. Why that guy keeps the lighter on for so long? What the fuck he's running downhill with? No, he threw the lighter down or something. It moves too fast and too smooth for a running man. Hey, what kind of lighter is this? It does not go off. Wait, there's a freak huge patch of dry reed in the way. It didn't slow down. It goes further. And I don't hear a single sound from there. Fuck, wait, it's going uphill. Towards me. I had no intention to see who or what it is, and what intention does it have? I'm skeptical about a fire, like points of light traveling faster than a running man. I ran away as fast as I could. It's a really boring place, full of low vegetation and occasional hawthorns because of shitty soil. No strange things, no suicides, no World War II casualties, no junkies, or wannabe Satanists. Street lights are less than 2 minutes of quick march away. I didn't go there for 3 months since that evening, just in case. This happened when I was 7, I don't know what time it was, but it was in the middle of the night, everyone was asleep, and somehow I was there, sitting on my bed without able to move. I could only move my eyes, and my face was looking into the window in front of my bed. There was a huge bluish light, like as if someone put a huge light on it, and I stayed there like for a good while. Then from the window on my left, I felt someone was passing by. Then in the window in front of me I saw someone passing, very tall, he looked like a man but without hair. What caught my attention is that in those times I had a Siberian Husky, and he was very wild and aggressive with strangers, the type of dog to hunt other animals and eat them. He didn't bark, he just attacked, but that night, he didn't do anything, and all I was thinking was if my dog was okay. Next day I woke up telling everyone there was a man outside, but nobody believed me because everyone trusted our dog as a guardian. I had this memory locked for years until one day I just remembered it, like, hey, that actually happened. Be me, early teens. Go to sleep in my room. Suddenly wake up at 3 a.m. Dark as fuck. Can't move. Shadowy fog straddling me. Feel a sensation in my mouth. Ghostly sigh.mp3. Something is being sucked out. Realize it's a succubus. It's sucking out my soul. Oh shit, I'm gonady.jpg. Start praying despite being atheist. Suddenly break free. Run out of my room. Too real to be a dream. Wait out the rest of the night until morning. It was too real, brothers. I had almost an exact same experience, but I wasn't a kid, I was probably in my late 20s. Bedroom has 2 windows, one to my left and one behind me. One to my left is pretty big, like a 4 foot by 5 foot rectangle, and the other is a bay window, 5-sided kind. Don't have curtains up, just horizontal blinds. House is on a hill, so any cars coming down light up the left window at night. Don't have any lights on in the room except a small lamp and my monitor, so it's pretty dark. One night the left window lights up as if someone is shining a spotlight at it. Then the window behind me lights up too. The bay window never gets lit up because of the layout. This is the only time it's happened. Room is super fucking bright, as if I've switched the light on. Get up and look out the bay window. Lights disappear and the room goes back to darkness. Nothing at all in the street that could have made it. Only time it's happened, and it was weird as fuck. It was around the same time, not to the hour, more like days apart, where I made this odd sorta recording. I've mentioned it on /x/ before and posted it. I won't bore anyone with it again. It's really hard to hear, and I can only really pinpoint it because I know what I'm listening for. It was this strange sort of humming/hovering noise, but not like a helicopter. It sounded like it was right outside, but I couldn't see anything. Must have been there at least an hour, but I only recorded like 4 minutes of it. It absolutely pissed down with rain, so it's even harder to hear. A car drives past and you can tell the difference, so it wasn't a car. It definitely wasn't a helicopter. I live on a main flight path, but it was no plane I've ever heard before, not that low or staying in the same spot neither. It wasn't AC because no one has that here. I don't know what it was, but that was weird as fuck too. I was almost 9. My mom bought a pink and yellow pair of these troll dolls at a garage sale. The old bitch selling them said the pink one is haunted. We thought it was a joke, but there was an actual poltergeist attached to the thing. A month later I was alone downstairs and watching a Shirley Temple movie on Nick at Night when the pink doll walked into the room and sat down cross-legged in front of the TV. All I could do was stay frozen in terror and trying not to make a sound. The doll sat there for hours until my mom barged into the room to give me shit about being up so late, then it suddenly collapsed on the floor. I tried to explain the situation while she accused me of seeing things. But I have aphantasia, so I cannot see things. No one ever believed me. The doll is long gone, but we still have the poltergeist and it causes trouble now and then. Bizarrely enough, 30 years later to the month of the incident, my mom or someone bought a new one of those dolls which I photographed for Picrel. I wanted to ask why, but our poltergeist is always listening and probably would have viewed that as an invitation to start acting out again. B. Today. Be hanging at elderly friend's house. Be chilling as usual in his living room watching TV. Hear my name said softly twice from friend's room. Anon. Anon. I go to his room to respond. Find my friend stone cold dead. Immediately freak the fuck out. Stand there in shock. Take a minute to get my shit together and call 911. Get instructed by dispatcher on how to resuscitate him. No bueno. Not long before ambulance and police arrive and paramedics take over. Give a statement to the police. Medical examiner pretty certain that it was heart failure due to natural causes. Estimates time of death as several hours before and possibly previous evening. Dude had been long dead. My face when I'd been hanging with dead friend all day and didn't know it. My face when I heard him call my name long after he would have been dead. My face when the only reason I went to check on him is that I heard him call my name. This just happened a few hours ago. I'm obviously not a kid, but there were no other creepy /pasta/ life experience threads. Anyway, I'm still feeling sick over this and may not be around to respond for long. I am riddled with M. A white lady made out of glowing dust kept stroking my hair at night. Her hand was ice cold. One night I had enough and told her to go away. She didn't return. Later when my grandma died, we cleaned out her house and I found the lady in an old binder. Great-great-grandma, same dress and hair as picture, same knitting pins in hair. Year later I befriended a gypsy girl that knew everything about birds. We played in the woods all summer. She never entered our property, always stood at the fence. Senpai made fun of me for not inviting her inside. At summer's end she asked to go see her senpai. And we walked past every hut and old house in town, and at an old holy site there was smoke going out this large and lonely rock outcrop, and a random cellar door, a door I know for a fucking fact never was there before. As we walked closer her grind became larger, her gums was unnaturally far up compared to teeth, her mouth started to look like that of the Joker, she became wilder, started dancing around on the trail, then she suddenly stopped. Grabbed my hand and said, "My mother is gonna be so happy to finally see you." And for some reason this told every instinct in me to GTFO. I pulled away and ran like a tard, her anon screams becoming more and more bestial in sound. I looked back only once to see her running after me with a tattered summer gown. She's running like a hunchback mongoloid, her legs seems longer and denser, toes and fingers longer, mouth wide open, lips widened to the edge of jaw. Nope nope nope. Run to thick forested part, off trail, fall out of bushes and back on trail, right beside where an old road meets it, remember the plant covered drainage tube, dolphin dive inside it and hide as I hear screeching from that girl or what the fuck it was. Wait an hour and run home, I never speak of her again, Never seen her gain. Later in life me and my ex had the devil walk into our house and ask for weed. No better way to explain that XD. I worked on Malmstrom Air Force Base as a security force airman for the nuclear weapons storage area on base. My partner and I watched these things make flight patterns over the mountains in Montana for at least 30 minutes straight one night in 2005. There were a total of 3 of them and they made all kinds of patterns in the sky, dropping as low as a few hundred feet off the ground, to as high in the sky as we could see, deep into space. They would cover this distance in seconds. This wasn't over water and couldn't be witnessed with the naked eye because it was at night. We were only able to observe them with night vision goggles. It's been 18 years and I still don't understand what I witnessed. I'll just say this though, if the general public used NVGS and looked into the sky at night, you would see strange things with regularity. We only accidentally figured this out because we were watching some vehicle traffic around the installation. 4 or 5 years old. In my bedroom playing. Suddenly feel a strong urge to look out the window. Have to push stuff near the window so I can climb up and see out of it better. As I do this I see something flying towards me from outside. Picture a soap bubble, but with absolutely no center to it, just the outside ring of the bubble in a bright shiny gold light. This orb thing approaches and stops right outside the window. It is just about the size of the window, maybe a bit smaller. I get the distinct impression that it was looking for something from me, or hoping I was something. Whatever it was looking for, I wasn't the one it wanted. It flies off never to be seen again. I don't remember any from my childhood, but I do have something from a few years ago. Have nightmare which seemed to drag on for hours and which I couldn't wake up from. Nightmare ends when I enter my parents' bedroom and ask my dad who is laying in bed where mom is. He looks puzzled at me and tells me I'm not making sense. Ask again and he replies that she's at church. Wake up and tell mom about my nightmare. Next week I enter my parents' bedroom and see dad lying in bed. He's talking to my mom who is in the bathroom. He says about another woman that she's at church. That and some other parts of the nightmare which aren't really worth mentioning were the first time I'd experienced something that couldn't be explained with logic. I had been praying to receive a sign from God that would strengthen my faith since I was worried I might die from an upcoming surgery, and this must have been it. God is very frightening, or whoever he sent me. 12-year-old me. Befriend guy on RuneScape from same country. Talk every day for months and bing chilling. Summer holidays coming up and I travel 5 hours with train alone. Arrive at his house, it's not bad but slightly old. He mentioned that it was built on top of or close to World War II bunker. Having a good time, same age as me, and we just playing RuneScape all day. Stay there for like a week, LAN just gaming, eating food and chilling. We sitting in his room in second story gaming, his parents sleeping downstairs. Second night there we hear footsteps over us in the attic. I go WTF.jpg and he kinda brushes it off. I ask him to try and dig more into it. Mentions he has been playing with Ouija board etc. and sitting on floor drawing anagrams/salt circles etc. to communicate with spirits. I'm like, what the fuck, that's scary, but I was intrigued, so tell me more bro. He doesn't really wanna elaborate too much, so whatever. One night at around 3 am we go to kitchen to get some food, also second floor, middle of summer like 18 Celsius normal temperature. All of a sudden feel the coldest and evil breeze ever from nowhere. We both look at each other instantly like we knew this was bad, dropping our food and sprinting back into his room. Keep hearing footsteps from the attic over his room multiple nights, literally starts putting me on edge so much, and he says we can go check it if I want. We go upstairs and there is nothing there, no window or anything even. Like fifth night in, maybe 1 am we in living room watching TV. I fall asleep, wake up in the morning still on couch, alone, and it's insanely quiet. Out of nowhere I both hear and feel the loudest breath ever, right into my neck. I 180 turned instantly in panic and see nothing, no windows open, no fans, literally nothing to explain it. Week goes by and I travel home, tell my parents about my good time there and the paranormal stuff. They conservative Christian and says he was satanic, never let me contact him ever again. 17 years ago now and he'll never forget it. Be me. 7-year-old white boy in family of 5, dad, mom, and 2 older brothers. Living in Réunion Island, a French overseas territory east of Madagascar. Surrounded by Tamil Hindus, Muslims, voodoo practicing Afros. Many occurrences of animal sacrifice locally over the years, a cultural thing so we kids don't think much of it. Sometimes weird things happen. Human-made tracks, bizarre puppet-like thingies hung to our front yard bushes. One day, a fucking dark chicken inside our mailbox. More worried about parents' reaction than the actual discovery though. One night I woke up to my parents talking in the kitchen. Get out of bed to join them, feeling like the need of a big family hug. On the way to the kitchen, feel very weird. Feeling big, like several kilometers long big. Don't know how to express this other than my members are so long that it takes seconds for them to obey to my brain. Remember vividly watching them from the kitchen door, having some kind of whispering argument against the window. They were constantly looking at the neighbors, about 200 meters far. Visibly worried. Eventually they noticed me. Jump scare of hell.jpg. Why aren't you sleeping? Mom comes to grab me, stop after a few steps. Why are you doing this? Realize my mouth is uncontrollably gnawing at nothing. Opening, closing but empty. Just the sound of my teeth colliding. It stops as soon as I realize. And why are you like that? Didn't know what they meant. Just waited for something to happen. They looked at each other. Mom then caught me and put me back to sleep. Next day they tried to talk about this. Kept asking me questions, and looked at each other when I answered. From that night on, had very frequent nightmares. Only remember ill-formed animals crying, yelling, suffering in general. Some night I would wake up standing in front of my parents yelling at me in random parts of the house. Never knew how I got there in the first place. Ask me why I was just standing there, with my body twisted, my mouth gnawing or smiling exaggerately, against the living room couch or their bedroom bed. Never gave any answer. Everyone in my family started to worry. One night I woke up to my mom looking at me, with the lights on, in my bedroom. She had an horrified look on her face. But most of all, I remember the dozens of people all around her, of all kinds and colors, vividly staring at me. Why are all these people looking at me? See Mom looking around her. What are you talking about? Grabs my hand, take me out of bed and make me take a shower. Then one night, woke up to Big Bro yelling he's here. I was outside, naked, in the backyard, looking at our neighbor's house burning. Everyone gathered, big family hug. Remember clearly the fire being the most satisfying thing that night. Nightmares instantly stopped. Sleepwalking instantly stopped. Voodoo shit around the house instantly disappeared. Life instantly came back to normal. Mom doesn't like to talk about this, but she's 100% sure the neighbors and my nightmares/sleepwalking were related. No one really knows what happened though. Be me. Maybe 8 years old. At grandma's house. Woke up early before anyone else, so go downstairs. Grandma has this weird homemade doll sitting on a shelf in the living room. Pickrel is my best AI generated approximation. It didn't look that creepy in real life. Sitting in the silent living room waiting for someone to wake up and make breakfast. Get uneasy feeling. Notice the doll is looking at me. Probably just where I'm sitting, so move to the couch on the other side of the room. Doll is still looking at me. It must have moved. Leave the room and come back. Doll is staring at me. Hide behind couch and peek out. Doll is staring at me. Get so freaked out I go back upstairs and try to sleep. Not much of a story, but I swear the doll was following me around the room watching. It really seemed like it was turning its whole head and body whenever I moved, but probably just being sleepy and ate made it seem that way. I've had two, once when I was 10 or so, once about 4 years ago. Please tell me what they were if you know. At 10, I was walking upstairs in my house around 5 p.m. to go to my mom in her room. The stairs ran adjacent to my living room. As I walk up the stairs looking over the banister into the living room, I encounter a wolf/dog make of gray smoke running in circles, right there 10 feet from me. It runs a few loops in a tight circle, they all of a sudden break the loop running into the wall opposite to me. When it hits the wall it turns into a puff of blackish smoke that quickly fades. Looks exactly like you would see in a movie or something. It lasted about 10 to 20 seconds or so. I also remember not being afraid. I was a normally scared kid or spooky stuff. I just remembered being taken aback and maybe in a state of shock but not scared. When it disappeared I ran straight to my mom. She remembers me telling her. The aberration was roughly the size of a medium dog. Second encounter, this one really confuses me. It's like it had some altering effect on my brain in the moment, happened roughly 4 years ago max. I used to fish on the pier in California a lot at night with my pier buddies for sharks. We'd sit out there all night very often. So one night around like 8 p.m., in the summer, we are all shooting the shit way down the end of the pier. I look down the pier towards the beach and see this thing floating 50 feet above the beach that looks like a 5-foot diameter flaming ball of fire, like a little sun practically. It's like hovering there in place. I was like, what the fuck? And you see performers on the beach in Southern California a lot, so my first thought was maybe it was like some kind of kite or something that somebody lit on fire, but there was definitely nobody down there flying it. It was well lit enough to see. Almost certainly nobody was there, and it was really weird looking. So I point this out to the group of teenagers I fish with. And they acknowledge it. And this is where it get really weird because I notice myself undergoing a mental shift, and I think they are too. So one guy tells me something along the line of, yeah, it's just something they do, or yeah, it just goes on here like that, and it made no sense. So I push back while losing my interest more and more, almost like I'm drunk or something and losing interest in a way that shouldn't happen. I say that makes no sense and just look at it, and I remember the guy saying it was something very specific, but when it got to what exactly, it's like it was erased from my memory. I lost my sense of time while saving this, and the group really wanted to get back to chatting with each other and pay no mind to the flaming orb. After what seemed like more than 3 minutes but less than 10, of asking and trying to decide what to do, I noticed the thing was now completely gone. It felt like I was cognitively fucked with 100% because that night I went home thinking about it a lot, and it was so recent, not something as a kid. This was truly bizarre. Nobody here has ever been able to identify it. It looked exactly like pickerel. I don't think it was St. Elmo's fire or ball lightning, but maybe. My ex had a story much like this. She was driving home and saw a light in the sky. She said it looked like a second sun. She was on the phone with her friend at the time and starts describing it, when 2 fighter jets swoop in and either disappear into the light or fly off faster than she could follow. The light did a zigzag shuffle, then zoomed off over the horizon. As this was happening, she was describing it to her friend over the phone. As it came to an end, she slowed down talking, and her friend on the phone said she got real disengaged and distant. When she arrived at the friend's house, she did not remember the encounter until it was retold to her, and the memories flooded back. So they absolutely have the capability to alter consciousness at a distance. This could give them almost antimemetic cloaking. They make our brains literally not care nor remember. Oh my god, fuck this new CAPTCHA bullshit. Be me, 6 years old. At school, 1st grade recess, small town in New Mexico. Windy day, always sunny in New Mexico. Teachers start calling students in from the playground. A dust devil, mini tornado, was seen nearby. I linger behind, Want to see the dust devil? Have seen enough PSs on TV to know to get under something that can't blow away. Solid steel truck on the playground has a flat truck bed and I slide under it while the sand blows violently. Sky goes beige, then gray, wind picks up harder. Beginning to get annoyed at seeing no dust devil, decide to get out and go back inside the school. Start to wriggle out from under the playground truck in the sandy wind, notice a shiny glimmer out of the corner of my eye. Still half under the truck, I turn to look and see an adult-sized human shape made out of TV static standing calmly, casually, between me and the school. It speaks to me, can hear it as if it was right next to my head, or inside my head, despite the wind and noise. You will always be alone. I blink as the words hit me and my internal voice says nuh-uh. As soon as I blinked, this thing was gone, teleported, or winked out of existence. Pull myself out from under the truck, not caring about the wind or the sand or dust and walking back to the school, slowly, processing what this static man said. Begin to feel depressed before I make it to the school door. Teacher/hall monitor at the door is saying something to me, but I don't care. Go to class and realize none of these kids are my friends. Parents are military, get an education at 3 elementary schools, 2 middle schools and 3 high schools, no friends. Go to college and join clubs, actively seek out social situations, banged a few thoughts, no friends. Get a job unrelated to my degree, still in the field, still very good at what I do, no friends. I am 40 years old and I still curse that static TV man. I've seen UFOs too, but that'll have to be its own Greentext, Scene 12. Fuck dust devils. When falling asleep I would experience a sort of warping of physical reality in which the diameter of my limb/body would expand to absolutely colossal sizes, I'm talking the scale of massive skyscraper buildings. The sensation is difficult to explain but that is probably the most accurate. It was happening when I was 8 years old and it was never pleasant. I hated going to sleep, it was associated with dread. It sounds like some sort of recurring nightmare but to this day I can recall the exact sensation of it, no different from knowing what being underwater feels like for example. I recently had an experience where I felt it begin to happen again under the same circumstances 20 plus years later and it all came flooding back. Reminds me of that video of the dirt biker in Oregon which also reminded me of the 411 accounts. Read 411. Lots of claims about it going insta-silent in the woods before the spookies happen. Lots of people who spend a lot of time in a woods say they've never heard it happen before. Dirt bike kid is dirt biking. Gets to a section where a tree is blocking his path and there's a load of animal bones. Puts his guard up because mountain lions or bobcats or whatever the fuck is around there. Leaves. Goes back some time later and the tree has been moved. Still lots of animal bones but he's in a wood so it's to be expected. Goes further than usual and comes to a fork. Makes his choice and sticks with it. Not sure what time of day it is, but it's still sunny although it looks dark because of the tree canopy. Comes to a stop and debates whether to turn around. Turns his bike off. All of the wildlife goes insta-silent. He mentions how quickly it just got quiet. Looks around and starts panicking badly. Like something from a horror film. He can't start his bike, but eventually manages and hightails it the fuck out of there. In the footage it's very difficult to make out. But when he's glancing around some kind of shape emerges from a bush a little ways away. It's not 4K quality, but to me it almost looks like a wolf and then starts merging into a person. Whatever it is what the kid saw that spooked him. Even he said he couldn't describe what it was but it scared the shit out of him. Never seen any updates on it and he hasn't gone back as far as I know. Rest of his uploads are just him dirt biking. Too long. Didn't read, you got lucky bro. Saw a literal hand coming from under my desk while doing homework when I was 10. It was pale and fully physical, I remember the texture of the skin and the yellowish nails. It was disembodied though, because the space from where it came out was just for the hand to fit. I had dropped a floppy disk that I was fidgeting with, and when I bent down to grab it, the fucking hand appeared, slapped the disk and dragged it into the narrow space under my desk. I've had a bunch of experiences, but that one was the clearest and the one that still to this day makes me believe there's more, not necessarily dead people ghosts, but there's something else. When I was young, between 4 to 10 maybe, I would see these quickly moving blurred figures dash down hallways and through doorways. I wouldn't see these all the time, but it happened often enough. For example, be me. Maybe 5 watching TV at Grandma's house. Grandma was a chain smoker, and the house was always dark. Commercials come on, instinctively look to my right where the hallway connects the kitchen, living room, and bedroom plus bathroom. Skin-colored, peachy tan? Blur streaks down the hallway from my grandma's bedroom into the kitchen. Could almost make out the shape of a man jogging, but it was so fast it really just looked like streaks. There's nothing in the kitchen. I saw this mostly just at my grandma's house before she moved. Don't really know what was up with it, but even now when I am alone I've always felt like I'm being watched. I am not sure if it was a dream or it happened to me for real, but I do remember it for the longest time. Be probably 5 to 6 year old. Small town. There was a house at the end of one of the streets in the neighborhood where a crazy lady lived. She would scream on top of her lungs like really really hard. That too, I am not sure if it was real. On certain day, my grandpa got into a huge accident, but he luckily escaped death. My family distributes sweet rice in all of the neighborhood. Me, my cousins, bro pick different street where we go and give the boxes. Obviously none of us go to that spooky house. Me, brave boy, think what the hell I will see that lady if it's real or not, with the perfect excuse of that rice box. Go there, she screams so hard, like really really hard, and grabs, and after a while I woke up in my home. I never even verified what happened actually happened or not, just didn't even mention it and stopped going in that street. Good thread, enjoy the stories. I have a couple to contribute, I will try to make them brief due to the text limit. If you want to know more, I will try and answer any questions. Be about 10. My family had a pretty big house to accompany a lot of people. Me, my 2 siblings, my mom, my aunt, my grandfather, grandmother, deceased, great uncle and great aunt. They moved her to a home later on. Always felt off in the house. Hear things calling my name from the closet. Closet was like very wide open, and it seemed to have a crawl space that went into the attic that no one ever went into. This plus a few other experiences spooked me. Would always have to sleep with someone else. Sleep in my grandfather's room one night. He's very Catholic religious. Effigies of the Trinity everywhere, Bibles, books, etc. For some reason I woke up. My eyes adjusted and I could make out the objects in the room. For some reason was drawn to the closet. Sit up and look in the closet. Pitch black, a void of blackness. 2 red eyes staring out at me. Freak out, adrenaline dump. Lay back down, shut my eyes. Pretend I didn't see it. Finally fall asleep after what felt like hours. This one happened before the one above. Sleeping in my mother's room. Wake up. Waking up woke my mother up. She asks me what's wrong. Told her grandma said goodbye. The next day my grandma never came out of her room, she's usually up early making breakfast etc. Eventually they go in there and she was dead. Something with her heart gave out. My mom and her sisters also grew up in the same house and have told me about experiences they've had. I woke up and saw this. First I will say I've had sleep paralysis a million times before, and I'm a lucid dreamer. What I experienced a few nights ago was different. I woke up and saw something over me that best looks like this rendering. I screamed so loud and pulled the blankets over my head, and my 2 sleeping dogs woke up barking like crazy. There are a million logical explanations for this, scientific, REM state sleeping, I am sure of it, but I actually believe and feel I woke up and saw an entity that wasn't part of sleep paralysis. Eyes were blurred and it was in a white outfit. My mom thinks I saw myself floating outside of my body in an astro travel, as she was able to do that when she was young. My hospital has a ghost. I cannot believe I am saying this, but there's a ghost in my hospital. 2 patients died nearby in the intensive care unit. After the deaths, I heard a female voice sobbing. This went on for about 5 minutes, and then she just let out a horrible scream. I felt bad for her, but what happened next was downright horrifying. I saw this bright orange ball in my room. It was glowing, it hovered above me, and while it was present, I felt an absolute chill. I was freezing. This lasted for what I'm estimating about 3 minutes. Occasional purple sparks would come out of the orange glowing ball. I didn't get shocked, but seeing those sparks creeped me out. I hate electricity because of the 3 times years ago when they had to use the paddles on me. Finally, that orange glowing ball slowly exited the room. At that point, it was all over. I was no longer cold. I sure didn't sleep anymore though. I've never dealt with ghosts before, so what ended up happening last night, for pet's sakes, I don't know how to describe it. They better discharge me before anything else happens. Unexplainable bruises after unknowingly visiting paranormal tour at Greyfriar Graveyards, Edinburgh. I, 24F, was solo traveling to Scotland to a few places, last stop, Edinburgh. Being tired of normal free walking tours, I looked up if there was anything on the more darker history/side of Edinburgh. Without looking too much into it, I booked a spot on the company from TripAdvisor #1 for a walking tour, City of the Dead Tours. I just booked the tour with the most suitable time slot, thinking it'd be about scary stories in Edinburgh. Turns out, the Double Dead tour was going to the Paranormal Edinburgh Vaults and Greyfriar Graveyards, the last one being famous about their Mackenzie poltergeist attacks. I had zero information about these places beforehand, and didn't know I was going to visit places with prior paranormal activities, up until I was at the tour. Otherwise, I would have never signed up, even as a previous non-believer. After some sweaty hands and a few jump scares by the tour guide, I was glad I got back to my hostel. Reminder, even after the tour, I still knew nothing about the possible physical Mackenzie poltergeist attacks. Maybe the tour guide told us, but as a non-native English speaker, I might have missed it. But then, when I took a shower that evening in the hostel, I noticed 3 small bruises on my left arm, see photo. A weird place to get a bruise, let alone 3. I couldn't remember I hurt myself there. Only then I began looking at the tour company and saw there was a whole photo gallery with bruises and scratches, dictated to the Mackenzie poltergeist attack. If I knew beforehand, I might have been looking for them. There's always 2 or 3 bruises on my leg that I can't remember. But it was the other way around, I saw the unexplainable bruises first. So, what do you think? Is this proof? TLDR, 24F visited paranormal Greyfriar Graveyards in Edinburgh without knowing about possible physical bruises/scratches commonly reported after the tour, only to notice 3 suspicious bruises after the tour. What's being done behind the scenes to end this harassment? I've seen a few people claim that there are important people who know what's going on and who are on our side that are trying to do something about this harassment campaign. But what exactly is being done? I guess not much can be said due to the nature of this violation of our human rights, but can anyone give us something? Any information at all? I refuse to live the rest of my life like this. This is ridiculous. Hello. My name is Akinomoto Kenshiro, net name, and I live in Japan. I'm a victim of the misuse of neuroelectronic communication science. Are you taking any countermeasures or defenses? If not, your information security will produce negative benefits, and things will not go as planned. This will not only result in physical harm, but also in increased social harm and crime. If you don't understand the above, you are not doing your job and are not worthy of a global organization. Are you disgusted? Or are you relieved that everything is okay? That sense of relief is a mistake. We are not being notified. Search to understand the current situation in Japan and issue a warning to the Japanese government. Command should be exercised by global rights, not individual countries. Take immediate action to unite the world. The final battle against evil has begun. I was born to join hands with you. Thank you for your understanding. The end. Tested the phone is listening theory with YouTube results freaked me out. Freaked me out. Okay, so I did the classic experiment, talked out loud about something super specific and obscure I've never googled/searched/watched, example antique Japanese tea ceremony sets or best beard oil for curly beards. Waited 24 hours, no other activity on the topic. Opened YouTube and, related videos/ads right there in recommendations. Anyone else run this test recently and get spooky results? Or am I just losing it? I think I'm being gang-stalked by the government. Ever since I've been open about my political views it's been getting worse. I've noticed that I've been feeling random pain/numbness in my legs. For weeks now it's been getting worse. I'll also see black cars following me when I go for walks. And my Wi-Fi has been going out Pacific Ally when I start looking at posts about politics, and hearing strange noises in my house. I just had to get this off my chest. Maybe I'm imagining things. A true experience, strange dream followed by sleep paralysis after I took an unfamiliar route home. When I was 16, I took a dark way home from a haircut instead of my usual main road. Along the path, there used to be a Dolly older community activity center built by an elderly man out of old wooden boards, but it had already been torn down due to fire safety issues. That night, I had a disturbing dream. I was on the same street, but it was completely dark and filled with fog. An old man was buying breakfast near a food stall close to where the activity center used to be. The stall owner then asked me if I wanted one too, and I suddenly woke up. I first assumed it was just a stress-related nightmare. Then I felt 3 distinct breaths blown onto my scalp. I thought it was my sibling joking around, but quickly realized he should have been asleep. A strong sense of fear set in. I found myself unable to move. I'd experienced sleep paralysis before, but this time I couldn't break free no matter how hard I tried, and I felt an intense fear that something bad might happen. There was also a mirror next to my bed facing it, and I had a strong feeling that there was something in the mirror when I woke up. My father then came out of the bathroom, and as the light slowly entered my room, I gradually regained the ability to move. Most people describe sleep paralysis ending suddenly, but mine faded slowly with the light. The next day, my mother told a friend about it, and she mentioned that an elderly man in a nearby residential area had recently passed away. His age and gender matched the man in my dream, and he was known to spend time at that activity center. I rarely dream about strangers, which made this experience feel especially unsettling. I'm not claiming anything paranormal, just sharing an experience and wondering how others might interpret it. So, I just literally punched a shadow person in my living room, after seeing him in a dream years ago. Alright guys, I'm shaking a bit writing this, but I need to get it out cause I think I might actually have lost my fucking mind cause WTF I just saw a freaking shadow person, like, a minute ago. I'm home, everyone's asleep, super quiet. I was walking to the kitchen, and I stopped because the living room felt off. Not just dark, but blacker than black dark, like the shadows were consuming the room itself. This happened to me as a kid, that consuming darkness, but never with a figure. So I'm standing there, analyzing the darkness, and bam, he just materialized right in front of my face. It was totally humanoid, pitch black, No features, just pure dark shadow. My first instinct, no joke, was to punch him in the face and raise my guard. It was purely instinctive, like an immediate fight response. My hand went straight through him, of course, and he just dissolved. Poof. Gone. My feet are freezing right now. Like even crazier is that this isn't my first time seeing him. Years ago, I had my first sleep paralysis, and he was there. But it gets weirder. That paralysis started after a dream I was having, where an old lady was telling a story to two kids, saying, "You guys keep messing with the dark creature, but two other sisters like you used to mess with him, and one day he just got tired of it." The dream ended, I woke up paralyzed, and he was there. So yeah, I've had this dark creature history since forever, and now I just physically tried to fight him. I swear I saw him, you guys. I'm not tired, not sleeping, just stressed in isolated days, but today I was normal. I feel like this thing is tied to me somehow. Anyone have similar experiences, or any clue what this could be? Because WTF is the only thing I can think of right now. Feeling a presence for years. Hey everyone, I'm fairly new to posting on Reddit. I made a post years ago with little engagement and that was that. Anyway, I'm here now because I had a scary experience for the nth time. Searched online and found no possible explanations that clicked. This usually happens before I fall asleep or wakes me from my sleep. Lately I have been having this experience more often and while I'm wide awake. Cannot stress this enough. So I have been feeling a presence near me only in a certain city where my parents live. I have felt it in the old house and new. I feel someone is in my room, running around, climbing the bed, caressing my hair, etc. Once it felt like a dog sniffing my head, while I was in bed, from over the blanket. While I have dogs, none were in the room. I don't allow them on my bed since it's a single bed and they're big dogs. I can feel the presence clearly. It's a lot like when you're hiding under a blanket and someone presses their hand into the blanket as if trying to touch you. You'd feel the pressure and the sensations, and I feel that clearly. I'm wide awake, so I ruled out sleep/stress/fatigue based scenarios. Each time is a different form. I've felt people, a dog, something like a gremlin/gnome/chaotic child. It is a hyper energy and very real. I'm convinced if I tried I could see it, but I'm usually scared. That said, every time I have mustered up the courage to indicate I'm awake and then look, I've found nothing. I am healthy and not experiencing anything else of any sorts. The energy moves around and makes contact. I feel it like you'd feel water being thrown on you. Last night I thought they were children or something similar, hyper and giggly. The dog incident was very clearly a small, medium dog. Very lightweight, but the sniffing sensation was strong. I could feel a dog putting its nose to my head over the blanket and sniffing. Before that it felt like light or an orb of some sort. Though the form feels different, it has the same habit of pressing down on the blanket while I'm awake and I can hear it. Am I going crazy? Thanks. It has now been 1 month since the Epstein files were, by law, due in their entirety with only victim information and names redacted. As of now we have 0.6% of the files, incorrectly and heavily redacted, yet still have determined that Trump likely had way more involvement than previously thought. How bad do you think the 99.4% files that are remaining are? If there is a single soul that supports this pedophile at this point, regardless of ideology or political party, you cannot wish for the United States to be a healthy democracy or country at all. Last night a shadowy figure got into bed with me. So last night my sleep was interrupted and I woke up at around 4 a.m. Nothing in particular seemed to have caused this, but nevertheless I was awake. After lying there in the dark for an hour or so, tossing and turning, I decided to sit up, have a little smoke and put a podcast on. This always helps me get back to sleep, and last night it worked. When I woke up this morning at about 9:30 a.m., yes, I overslept, I suddenly remembered that there had been another person in my bed last night. The memory came back to me as clear as anything. I had heard loud footsteps running up the stairs, far too loud to be the cat, and as I opened my eyes and looked towards the bedroom door, I live alone and keep it open for the cat to come and go, I saw a grey figure of a man round the corner come quickly into my room and leap towards the bed to lie beside me. It moved so fast and I was so stunned that I wasn't able to move before I felt the weight of another body hit the bed beside me. As this happened, the figure seemed to dissipate like smoke, but the weight remained. It was beside me and I could feel it holding my arm, trying to hug me, and I could feel the pressure of a body against my side. I remember trying to get out of bed, thinking that I would run downstairs and get some sage, but it was hard to move. I've experienced sleep paralysis many times before but have never seen anything whilst it was happening, and it didn't feel like this. Normally I can't move even a finger, but last night I could move a bit, though it was very difficult and took a lot of effort to pull myself away from the weight and the grip of this figure. Eventually I think I did wriggle out of bed, but I don't remember anything after that. I had dreams last night, after I got back to sleep again, but I don't remember them. Just that they were vivid and quite detailed. I also don't remember my alarm going off at 8 a.m., which I must have woken up to silence. So I don't know if what I experienced was a dream, and if so, why do I remember that so clearly but no other dreams? Or was it a case of sleep paralysis since I had already woken up and tried to sleep again? Or was it a ghost? Either way, I will be saging my bedroom today. A disturbing experience after visiting a graveyard and the fear that followed. A friend of mine and I decided to explore a tourist spot in our local area. While we were there, I thought of visiting my mother's grave, which is located in a Catholic cemetery. I have visited her grave many times before, often alone, and I had never felt afraid or uncomfortable during those visits. However, on that particular day, I felt that something was not right. I had a strange feeling that the day itself was not good. Even though I had this feeling, I still decided to go to the cemetery. I prayed at my mother's grave and did not face any problem there. While returning, my friend and I decided to visit another graveyard located on top of a hill nearby. Usually, that place is very quiet and almost empty, and I had never seen anyone there before. Out of curiosity, I decided to go there and look around. As soon as I entered that graveyard, I felt a strong sense of discomfort. My subconscious mind kept telling me that something was wrong. When I saw two particular graves inside the cemetery, I suddenly felt chills throughout my body. The feeling was so intense that I immediately turned my bike around and left the place without going any further. After that day, I began to feel unusually heavy, both mentally and physically. Not long after, I met with a major car accident. Since then, I have also been involved in other minor accidents, which made me feel even more unsettled. Because of these experiences, I consulted a Hindu pujari whom I trust. She told me that some kind of negative energy was following me. I did not fully believe her, so I later went to a Muslim imam to seek his opinion. He also told me something similar, which increased my fear and confusion. Since then, I have been having continuous bad dreams. In many of these dreams, I see myself dying. Recently, I had a dream in which something entered my house and my cats became possessed. In the same dream, my family members were praying, but they also became possessed, and eventually all of us died. On the same night, I had another dream in which my late mother took me to a Buddhist monk. In that dream, I also saw someone being killed in a road accident. After experiencing these dreams, my fear and anxiety increased further, and I have been struggling to understand what is happening to me. Also, I had visited my mom's cemetery last year. Since then I am facing this situation.
Mosey on down to the Atomic Shaman Trading Post. We have t-shirts, decals, refrigerator magnets and other swag for sale. What better way to show your support for the show? Our merch can only be found on t.pub/lit/atomic shaman trading post.
Are you a targeted individual? Have you had a paranormal encounter, or are the victim of an unregulated government experiment and would like to share your story with us? Would you like to send us some fan mail or a hate-filled rant? Do you have an idea for a future episode or wish to send a complaint to HR? Email us at atomicshamanSweatlodge@protonmail.com. Like, share, subscribe and be sure to check the notification bell. Follow the Atomic Shaman on Twitter at Motel and RV Park. Listen to Paranormal Greentext stories on Atomic Shaman TTS on YouTube. Catch the live streams of Atomic Shaman Sweat Lodge only on Rumble.